In today's video, I show you how to make your own wet palette. What's up, everyone? Thanks for stopping by. My name is Colby, aka Serial Killer 02 on Twitch, Instagram, and here on YouTube. In today's video, I wanted to show you how to make your own wet palette for thinning your paints at home. There are quite a few people in the Facebook group, which I'll put a link to in the description below, that they always ask whenever they're just getting started in mini painting, what are the tools that I need? And every time I tell them one of the biggest things that you're going to need is a wet palette. And what a wet palette is for is just thinning your paints before you put them onto the miniature. I know when I started, I didn't do that, and I would go to put the paint on the miniature and it would just kind of leave globs and you would lose a lot of the detail. By using a wet palette, it helps thin those paints down so you can get more of that detail to come out in the model. You can buy already pre-made wet palettes. They're about 20 to 30 bucks depending on which ones you get. I know Privateer Press has some, and there's also the Everlasting wet palette, which they're both great. There's other companies that make wet palettes as well, but I made one at home and it was real simple to do. All you need really is just a Tupperware sandwich little container. I got this from my Hobby Lobby. It was actually on sale for $1.74. It is a wet palette sponge, and then also all you need as well is scissors, a Sharpie, and then parchment paper. I usually end up using the Reynolds Wrap parchment paper, and that's all it takes. And then just a little bit of water and you're good to go. So enough of me talking. Let's go ahead and jump in and I will show you how to make a wet palette. All right, and to start, you're going to need the sponge for the wet palette, and what I've done is just went ahead and cut the big sponge down just to make it fit in the camera a little bit better. But you can also use paper towels as well, but I have found they don't work as well, and they tend to get moldy, whereas with these you can just wash it off and keep using it. But I've only had to wash mine once, and I've had it for over a year now. So anyway, let's get started. What you do is you take the container and put it on top of the sponge, get the marker, and just go around the sponge here. So there's that. And it's okay if you leave the black. I mean, it's not really gonna mess with any of the sponge or anything like that, but then you just kind of cut around here. Should fit down in the bottom of the container there. Now you can take the piece that you just cut, get a piece of the parchment paper, tear that off, and then from here you can just kind of go to the edge and cut around it. Now, it doesn't have to be the exact same size as the sponge. It can be a little bit smaller. It can be a little bit bigger. That's okay. You're not going to have, any problems with it, and I will show you why here in just a minute. So you just kind of cut around here. And then after you get done cutting it, you put it back in the container. So you have that. Then what you usually do is you get water from the sink but I am not by the sink, so I have a cup that I have put water in. So you just take the water, let it soak into the sponge. You'll see the sponge expand a little bit. That's kind of why I made it a little bit smaller than the whole bottom of the container, because it will expand. And what I like to do is get enough water to where you see it kind of pulling around the sides. When you see it pulling around the sides, that's when you know that you have enough. See, you can kind of see it pulling there, because every once in a while you're going to want to have a little bit more water around your sponge so you can kind of mix the paints just a little bit. You want to make sure that the side where it's rolling together goes upwards. And then you're going to see that the paper is still kind of pushing its way up and cutting in. All you have to do is hold it down for a couple of seconds, and that paper will end up staying there. Sometimes it takes a few seconds, but you just leave your finger there, or you can use something to hold it down while you get the rest of your stuff together. And there you have it. Now you have a working wet palette. And this will stay good for a couple of days. Me and my wife use this all the time, and we absolutely love it. That just snaps back on like that. And I'll go ahead and show you the one I've been using for quite a while now. I actually painted a little bit last night, but not too much. If you look, the paints are still really solid. I mean, they're still pretty fresh. They mix real easily. They thin out, so you don't have to use water to thin your paints once you have a wet palette. They mix together really well. I mean, I probably wouldn't put those two colors together, but that just kind of gives you an idea of how well they'll work and thin out by using a wet palette instead of having to try to dip them in water or use a medium, anything like that. That's another great thing about a wet palette, is you can use it to help thin the paints down for painting. So that's pretty much all it takes to make a wet palette. It's pretty simple, and it is a lifesaver when it comes to painting.
And there you have it, your own wet palette, made pretty simple with it doesn't take much at all, and it's really cheap to make. I've been using the same one for a little over a year, and I love using it. I can't paint without it. So, yeah, if you guys like this video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if there's any other tutorial videos you want to see for miniature painting, leave your comments, and I will take a look and see what I can't do. But for now, thank you very much. I appreciate you checking out the video. I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.